Okay, so my name is Lakmali Karunarathne. I'm a lecturer in computer science and data science department at York St. John University, London campus, United Kingdom. So today's my presentation is all about business during COVID and automated sand truck management solutions, which is based on Sri Lanka, since I'm from Sri Lanka. So talking about scenario, when it comes to Sri Lanka, it's still the process for sand truck management system is still going with the manual system, which means there are lots of drawbacks when it comes to maintaining a big version of system. And the main key component for this scenario is sand truck. When I will explain the scenario first a little bit, and later I will explain specifically. When it comes to sand truck management system in Sri Lanka, in day-to-day life, the huge amount of sand truck are transporting one particular destination to another particular destination. The main key component they are transferring from their sand truck are sand. And based on that components, there are lots of drawbacks are identified. One thing is per day, only one sand truck can be transported one time, but lots of sand trucks are not following the exact rule. So which means there are huge drawbacks. And also at the same time, some sand trucks are transporting some illegal things by covering up the sand because it's not possible to identify based on the system. And when it comes to my scenario, what I have identified, this scenario was identified when I was in 2020 in lockdown period. So we were not able to gather in people, especially in public places. So normally when it comes to geological bureau, they just provide in permit sheet to sign their particular sand truck that they just transporting at one time per day, but that's not possible. So because they can bribe to the relevant people, relevant parties, and they can transport more than one time by not signing their permit sheet. So for that, I just trying to convert in that manual system into computerized system. So for that, under the computerized system, it will be the main key component is it will be identify and detect in the vehicle whether that vehicle is authorized or unauthorized, or whether that vehicle is under registration system according to the computerized system. At the same time, there will that system will weigh the measure of the exact weight of the sand at the same time with the vehicle in a total way. The use technologies for this one is RFID for detecting and identify the vehicle. And at the same time, I'm using load cell technology for measuring the weight, because I use load cell because of I was not able to go for real time gathering data, because that time we were in lockdown period. So what I have done is I have implemented two separate IoT devices. At the same time, I'm come up with a mobile applications interconnected with cloud platform. So for that, I use a cloud platform. The two cloud platforms I have used for this one is ThinkSpeak and the Firebase store. When it comes to two platforms, why I have used two platform as a backup plan, because when it comes to cloud platform, it's not very easy to remove your data, but it's just in my case, I just use to store the two separate platform to store my data. So talking about project scope and objectives, according to my research scenario, the first thing is when it comes to mobile applications, we have to make sure the authentications are very strictly, security is very good. So what I have done is I'm using Firebase authentication for login and signing up, and to avoid any issue from security basis. And once the sand truck owner successfully log into the system, they will be able to add their truck details. More than one truck detail they can be included. Once that, there are lots of features included under the mobile application. They can include their owner details, what are the schedules that they can do on the particular week, or 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months. Likewise, they can select the schedules by themselves. At the same time, they can change that any time before the exact day. So when it comes to IoT device, what are the project scope and objectives? the main key component is identify the truck recognitions. The truck should be identified based on the truck identification. It will be show you the exact relevant details to the involved parties. So the use technologies, RFID technology and the mobile authentications. The main challenge for me to do this one was how could I able to find the resources, because at that time period I was already told you that we were not able to go outside and gathering with the people. Then I was very shocked. How could I able to identify the details and how could I gather the details? So for that I just selected two particular places. The first place I used selected Hasalaka, which is central province in Sri Lanka, and I just select another place, Kandy. Then I just contact one of the involved parties, police officers. I just contacting one of the police officer in Hasalaka department. I'm asking about the scenario before going to implement the thing. I need to know what are the exact drawbacks that they identify. So I had a few interviews with 2-3 police officers. Based on their responses, I was getting to know that they were not capable to identify whether this vehicle transport more than one time per day, whether they are transporting the exact sand other than when illegal things. So after that, I just contacting Geological Bureau, where the department that providing win the vehicle permit for transporting. So I just asked what are the relevant things that they are come up with. For an example, what are the, how could you able to give the locations? So for that, they will be able to give maximum 5 locations per month to transport from one particular place to another place. So apart from the interviewing with relevant respective parties who involved with this scenario, I just getting to know with sand truck owner. I just got the interview with my father because he was a sand truck businessman. So what he told me about this perspective view from the sand truck owner, when the drivers, sometimes we can't make sure that drivers are transporting to the exact location what the sand truck owner asked them to transport, because sometimes they going for somewhere else and unload the sand and they took some more money and come up, they just doing some illegal things. So we are not capable to identify that one. So we don't know what happened when they go into the police departments. Like they have checkpoint each and every two selected points. Then sometimes they bribe to the police officers and they just transporting more than 2 times. So sometimes sand truck owners face to some problem because of the sand truck drivers. So apart from the interviewing, I have done some researching about some familiar sectors, like because when I'm searching about sand truck management system, I was not capable to identify whether there's no any exact process. So what I have done it, I have just follow up some familiar resources. For an example, I just research about what is the main intention and what are the main benefits of doing RFID technology. So how could I able to measure a vehicle and vehicle weight with some ingredients or without ingredients? So these are the resources findings that I have faced main as a challenges, but I overcome that challenge with very solid way. So I will give you the explanation about IoT-based automated sand truck solution. So the current situation of the sand truck system in Sri Lanka is a manual system, as I already told you, and the system is not capable to convert into the automated system due to some respective parties are adapt with the due to, because when it comes to manual system, they can do whatever the things because they are not catching up with the rules. Because when it comes to automated system, they cannot do any illegal things, any irrelevant things apart from the system. Once they do that one, it will be affecting to them. So main thing when it comes to COVID-19 period, we cannot touch the permit sheet because we don't know who just affected with the COVID-19. So that was very drawback. At the same time, we were very scared to go to the public gathering. So when we're going to signing up the permit sheets, they have start employees and place is ending point. So they have to meet more than 2 times per particular person. So it will be a high possibility to affect in the COVID-19. So that time period we have to maintain our hygiene. So who are the included parties? Obviously, sand truck drivers are included sand truck owners, because sometimes sand truck owner is the person who drive in his own vehicle. But sometimes sand truck owner owns some separate sand truck drivers, because they are the people who check in up whether that particular vehicle is transportation, to check whether that one is transporting more than one time or only once at a time. And geological bureau, where the department that issuing the permit sheet for relevant sand truck owners and capable to that. Okay, he is the main key component that he will capable to change the each and every detail. Once he successfully join into the system, he will be capable to include his truck details, his owner details, and scheduling details. Based on that particular date, once the sand truck driver transporting from the first location, once they did reading the RFID card at the RFID reader, then the mobile application will display something like this time, so which is very helpful for sand truck owners. At the same time, police officers also get that notification. So, and when it comes to another benefit is the weight. They will getting to know, like, I just implemented myself a platform for IoT device. I just come up with I just design a structure. The inside that structure is having a road like a bridge. Under that bridge, it is attached in the load cell. At the same time, there's a RFID card reader. Just adding to improve the visualization. I just at the checkpoint as the house, and I just use some wood made truck, which is a little bit weight. So once the truck is going to that bridge, it will identify the weight. At the same time, they will detect in the vehicle. And also owner is having different sort of sand truck. Sometimes one owner can have more than one sand truck, and owner can get the notification from the system and also mobile applications, and the police officer is the involved party that handling and monitoring the system. But at the same time, the mobile application can be used by both parties, like police officers and the owners. And also owner can create and edit or update the schedules as well as the truck details. So assuming that the sand truck, as I already told you, that sand truck owner, also known as the sand truck driver. So driver also capable to do the updating part for the sand truck details and the scheduling. So the process of the system, once the vehicle is coming to the checkpoint, the relevant checkpoint, the train vehicle data I already added the what are the relevant data. Like for an example, I just added to the Firestore what are the exact weight without any ingredient, and what is the exact weight after the sand is inside the vehicle. For an example, it is very hard for me to identify the vehicle weight, sand weight, because sometimes sand weight is wet, sometimes sands are dry. So what I have done is I just get the different range of weight measuring So then that particular range, I will be capable to identify whether this is a sand or not based on the load cell. So once the sand truck come into the checkpoint, it's providing the RFID to the RFID card reader. Then RFID card reader detecting that UID, which is detecting from the RFID reader. Then that particular UID sent into the Firestore. Based on that, the training data that inside in the database that is inside that is created by that is provided by the sand truck owners. Once they log into the system, they will detecting whether there's any number, any UID number that is inside in the database. Once the database identifies that UID is registered in this particular system, then it will be sending, okay, this vehicle is granted, this vehicle details are provided in the LCD screen, like vehicle number plate is granted. Likewise, if not, it will send you send a notification, it's not identified, it's denied. And so for this research scenario, I have come up with two platforms, one for the IoT device, one for the mobile application. Talking about the mobile application, I have added different sort of features, like apart from the main key features, the sand truck owner is capable to add his data as sand truck owner detail, and they can change scheduling, they can update their account, and they can check transport, and sometimes they can get some alerts as well. So for my case, the future implementation will be the location for GPS tracking, because I was not capable to do that resource on that particular time. I was very limited resources at particular time. Sometimes I was not capable to order in the item to do these things. So the IoT device use technologies are RFID, load cell. So process is already explained. And I use ThinkBig and Firebase because of the backup plan to avoid any unnecessary issues from my end, because when it comes to ThinkSpeak, it will automatically save the data from IoT device to the cloud platform. At the same time, I can read the data from ThinkSpeak to mobile application. But I just use the ThinkSpeak just to store the data from whatever the data that come up from the IoT device. What I have done is I just send the ThinkSpeak data to the Firebase. Then Firebase will retrieve the data in the mobile application. Then the relevant parties can see the relevant data that retrieve from the Firebase to mobile application. So you can see I just attached some snapshot that I have implemented for the IoT device. Once you can see in the first picture, once the truck is going to that bridge like road, they just providing the sand RFID card, then RFID card reader reading that one, then detecting the UID tag. You can see the UID tag over there. Once that, you can see at the same time I'm using the serial monitor from my end to make sure that the everything is perfectly working for just for testing part. Then you can see the UID tag is displaying like what is the UID tag, and it's saying whether that access granted or not. And then at the same time, it's saying, welcome, Mr. Narada Karunarathne. Your truck is eligible to sand transport. This is the not the same time. Once the reader is detecting the vehicle ID, it will show you in the third one. This one is I just using two separate records. One is another lorry and one is another truck lorry. So this one is access granted CPLJ 1166. So which means this vehicle number plate is CPLJ 1166. It's already reader is reading from the train data. And the load cell in picture due to that one. So you can see the total weight is 2990 kg. I just got this kind of weight because this truck is very little bit weight, very high, because it's created by wood. So I just asked another person to created this sand truck because to check my data set, because when I'm using some plastic wise toys, it was not capable to identify the measuring time, because when I'm checking that one, it will give me some smaller weight. So that's why I'm using a bigger weight vehicle, to assuming that real time vehicles are also too big and measurements are very high. So that's why I'm using a wood-based sand truck to make the device more real. And the mobile application use technologies, I use the Android Studio with VS Code as the platform for implementing the mobile application. I use the Flutter as the framework, which is very helpful for me to add some transparent features. And to store and retrieving and data, I'm using Firebase with Cloud Store. And to interconnecting with the mobile application, I'm doing the Arduino IDE and also RFID used for detecting the technology. And Java is the double OP concept that I have used as the backend. And I'm using ThinkSpeak to send the data from IoT device to the cloud, then cloud platform ThinkSpeak to Firestore, and Adafruit for some relevant libraries to add in the Arduino IDE. So the mobile application, you can see the sign up and login authentication, which is done from Firebase authentications. If the sand truck owner is very new to the mobile application, then they have to sign up. Or either sand truck owner is already signed into the system, then they will be capable to log into the system. But once they log in, the email authentication will be done by the Firebase authentication. So the mobile applications features, you can see in the attached figures. There are two figures. One is the navigation bar. I just added in the top navigation bar, which is like, it is very helpful for me to improve the transparency of the mobile applications. Once you click the navigation bar, it will come up the relevant functionalities. For an example, to assuming that the sand truck owner needs to create the account or updating the account, then they can add relevant details whenever they're required. And also they can add the schedule, truck info, and the transport is all about the GPS tracking, which is future implementation. Alerts will be sent, like for an example, assuming that the relevant sand truck is transporting more than one time, it will be sending an alert like your vehicle is denied, because it assuming like this sand truck sending 2 times records per day. So that is the alert that getting from police officers, at the same time the sand truck owner. So the settings are included, the default thing you can change the dark mode, white mode, likewise. So you can see the bottom navigation bar. I have at home, profile, calendar, location. Location is a future implementation, and rest of the functionalities are worked well. So when it comes to assuming that the sand truck owner add the schedule to the vehicle, what they have to do is they can go to the direct to the calendar, or they can go for the scheduling as well. When they go into the calendar, you can see I just mentioning the red color circle, which means the customer, which means sand truck owner can change the options whenever they want. And also I just add floating button in here. When I'm adding a plus mark, it will be giving possibility to, once I click the Saturday, May 2nd, then when I'm click the plus button, then it will be automatically give me to add the relevant data. For an example, I'm going to this Friday number, 1st of Friday, May, then I'm selecting this one, then it will be giving me the dialog box like that. Then I will be capable to include the vehicle number, at the same time the location that I'm going to transport. Since I'm using the Hassalaka as the main starting location, they have to only provide what is the end location for them. Then what I have done is, since my end location is Kandy, I'm just adding the vehicle name. At the same time, I'm adding the location for the end location. So once I save that one, then the system, the Firebase, is retrieving the data under here. whenever the sand truck owner need to check that one, once you go into here, it will show you like that. Here you have a scheduled transportation for this particular day. So which is very helpful for sand truck owners to identify due to their busy schedule. So when it comes to another thing, assuming that when we add in the sand truck details, the sand truck owners are the main responsible key because they have to measure in the sand truck before transporting the anything like sand, bricks, other than that. So they have to measure in the sand truck weight without sand, then they can provide the weight over here. So in here I use kg, but the actual weight is come up as milligram. But since I need to provide this as a reliability, I'm just assuming it as a kilogram, but I just mentioned that one as well. And once it comes to Firebase, you can see once the data is created from the mobile applications, there's a class called users. It will automatically save in here. You can see I just changed that one name as Lakmali. Other than that, it will come up like this kind of UID. When I'm clicking this UID, it will be come up with Nalinda Karunarathne that I have created another record for CPLJ 1166 vehicle. So I just added province, schedule, truck details, users as the classes that I have created. So you can see when it comes to scheduled truck details, it's saying CPLH 22 to 85 and the weight is there. It is already stored in here. All the things are done by IoT device. Then IoT device send into the data to the ThingSpeak. Then ThingSpeak send into the data to the Firebase by authentication ID. So you can see when you go into the scheduling part, you can see there are different sort of schedule I have added. Once I'm selecting this one, it will show me the exact what is the date and the time and also event. See, you can see date Vattegama and event is Candy, which means this person is starting the point as the Vattegama and then the end point should be the Candy. So this is how the Firebase authentication and Firebase Firestore doing their key functionalities incorporate with the mobile application and IoT device. So in the future implementation, I'm trying to implement my system by adding the GPS tracking to make sure that sand truck owners can capable to track the vehicle that where they locate vehicle at that time particular period, which is very helpful for them to understanding that the each and every sand truck is going through with the exact location. And also I'm planning to add some another alert code, like assuming that RFID card is reading 2 times at the same number, it has to send a denied action because at the same time we can transport only 1 time per day. So that is the second option that I'm going to do the future implementations. And the final discussion about my project was, firstly, I had challenges, but I have overcome with the challenges by the support of relevant parties. At the same time, the expected outputs, expected objectives were capable to come up with the reliable outputs, which is very satisfied from my end. And talking about the mobile application and IoT device efficiency and productivity of the both of the two platforms, all the data was identified as the test cases, and all the test cases are giving me the efficient and correct results, which means the product quality is good. So I'm very happy with my overall project. And RFID technology is showing me the exact data what I have entered into the relevant mobile application. And the mobile application show me once the reading the exact data from the RFID card reader, it just show me the exact output from the mobile applications, which is very satisfied from my end. And thank you so much for the presentation, for listening from your end. And if there's any questions, you can ask from me. Thank you.